Thank you again for joining my podcast. I just figured I would actually talk about a subject because I went to the city today and pretty much seen a lot of homeless, like I said, the rejected, fallen, and just plain downtrodden people all around, sleeping under nothing at some points and then sleeping under, a blanket maybe or whatever. But just a lot of people homeless. And it really made me think that, a lot of people want to say that, these people belong there, they did, whatever. But at the same time, a lot of times in life, you don't really know where you're going to be. A lot of people, have lived in big, nice homes all their life. They've lived what we would say the good life. And they never see the people that have fallen, people that are rejected by society, people that are, just really bad off, homeless, without anybody there to help them up. And it just really should make us really think about, what we have as far as a relationship with God, and how a lot of us that are believers in Christ, we think we can just look at these people and say, oh, this is just how it is. But, those people are God's children too. They're His lost ones, His fallen ones, and He loves them just the same. And we should try to, show ourselves as a blessing to them. It don't have to be with money all the time, but, when you see them out there and, you see them in such a bad state, that you should pray for God to at least help them in some form, some fashion. If it isn't, financially, it could be physically. If you see them with a physical disability or a mental disability or whatever, because these homeless people, like I said, I just seen them, and it really makes you think about how much society just doesn't care anymore. They're sleeping on the steps of churches all around and all this, and I mean, there's no place for them to go, and the places that they can go are pretty much, they're better off sleeping by themselves than to sleep in one of the shelters, because some people are just really mean in character, and a lot of bad things take place within the shelters, drug dealing, all types of mischief, and it really just makes a lot of people uncomfortable and really would rather just sleep on the side of the road than to follow going into a homeless shelter. But we've all been lost. If we're saved by Jesus, then we've all been lost, and we've all been in bad shape, but God didn't throw us away, and He didn't forget about us. He saved us and brought us back into the fold, and we should not reject this side of society, but we should try to mentor to them, Like I said, if it's just praying for them, if it is just going to them and just, you know, maybe bringing a pizza or whatever. But we should try to do whatever we can to make their life just a little bit better. I've even heard shoes is one of the main things that these homeless people need are shoes. And you definitely should try to just, God himself said those that, give me, if you visit me or give me water or whatever, then you've given him water. So, we should try to do what we can with what we got that God's given us to give to others, whether it be financially, physically, or just a mental encouragement to them. But we should not reject them, nor should we allow the fallen to not, because a lot of us grew up in households where Jesus was taught, God was taught, but a lot of these people that you see out here, they have no understanding of God because they come from such, no word for it, but hellish households. So hellish that nobody understands what they're really going through. So, you got to think how blessed you were to even be able to hear the message of God. And while you were little, hearing the message of God, these people were being either, sexually molested, child abuse, a lot of bad things, in and out of, in and out of all kinds of child homes and things of that nature, and just getting thrown out on the streets here and there, and, but for a lot of us, we were blessed with a home of a family that really cared, but a lot of people, they wasn't blessed with that, and we can't see all the problems that are on the inside of these people. They got a lot of inside problems, and it's not just always about, they just don't have no money, they're just lazy. Some of them are just mentally incapacitated with so much trauma. The more trauma your life is filled with, it just gets worse and worse as you go along. It just gets worse and worse as far as what you can deal with. And then after a while, it gets to the point where you can't deal with it because nobody's telling you there's a God. So you're running to drugs, you're running to alcohol, you're running to prostitution. There are so many things that people run to in these situations because in these inner cities and things of that nature, they're just in such bad physical shape, mental and financial shape. It's traumatizing. And these people grow up and they've never heard the message of God. And you think that everybody's heard it, but they haven't. These people are living a lost, fallen lifestyle. And nobody's coming to them and telling them, that there's another way that you could live. There's another way you can actually know God, as the real living God. But, we live in a culture that is after its own pleasures, after its own pleasures. Nobody is after seeking out what they can do for others. They're seeking out what they can do for themselves. And I just say that we definitely need to try to be more understanding of the homeless and even the people that aren't homeless but have, these really bad disorders, because like I said, they come from such bad upbringing that we might be the only people that could ever tell them the message of God, and that they don't have to live in such conditions, that they can find a way out if they just choose to live the right way about life. And maybe some won't listen, and maybe some will. But the day is short, and there's plenty of people out there that need much help in the homeless community. And I think a lot of times people are just so fearful of these people because a lot of them do have mental disorders that can cause them to go into rages and stuff like that. But you can't be so scared not to try to help them in some way, some fashion. And a lot of times they're not even wanting money. A lot of these people, they don't even care about money. They would rather, they're just caring about, they want to be loved, they want to be accepted, and they want to be understood. And if we can just do little stuff to help them, I think they would be better off. And doing those types of things really helps your relationship grow with God, because you see God does these things like you would be doing for these people. You would be doing the same thing, and you would kind of see how, it's not just about giving because these people are going to do the right thing. It's about giving just because, they're there and they need a hand to help them within their environment. And, it's not necessarily to straighten out their life and make them know anything else, but that there's God and that there's Jesus, I mean, it's not about trying to get their whole life straight. If they do that, then that's fine. But the main thing is planting the seed that might grow in their mind, that might turn to fruit later on, if not right then. But it's not about what happens with the seed when you plant it. It's just a matter of fact, did you plant it or not? And I hope that, you would take this message seriously, because, like I said, when you're driving down the road and you see all these people that are homeless, all they need is one little message about God that could possibly change their life and change their whole way of going about things. But if we just ignore them, reject them, and judge them as, vagabonds that don't need any kind of help, then we're no better ourselves. And I hope that you would just take this message and spread it, and that you would build your relationship with God through helping people of this nature, possibly more than ever, because the days are getting short, the nights are getting long, and there's not very many people out there that are trying to help these people at all. So God bless, have a good one, and hope you enjoyed this message. Thank you.